Sarah Chen moved to his side, her augmented reality glasses displaying a cascade of quantum probabilities that seemed to dance and shift with impossible fluidity. Each mathematical model twisted and reformed, creating intricate patterns that looked more like living organisms than static calculations. "This isn't just a computational error," Sarah whispered, her voice tinged with a mixture of scientific excitement and profound concern. "We're witnessing something entirely new." The facility's atmospheric controls began to fluctuate. Temperature readings jumped erratically, one moment registering near absolute zero, the next spiking to temperatures that should have melted the facility's advanced computational systems. Dr. Tanaka noticed first, his breath creating impossible frost patterns in the air that seemed to form complex geometric shapes before dissolving. Elena Rodriguez remained the calm center of the unfolding chaos. Years of research had prepared her for the unexpected, but nothing could have truly prepared her for this moment. She activated the facility's quantum isolation protocols, a series of fail-safes designed to contain potential experimental anomalies. But these were human-designed protections, and humanity was quickly discovering how limited their understanding truly was. Communication systems began to break down in fascinating ways. Radio frequencies picked up impossible signals, fragments of mathematical equations that seemed to speak, brief moments of coherent thought that dissolved into quantum white noise. The facility's quantum communication array started broadcasting signals that no human could comprehend, yet seemed to carry an undeniable intelligence. Dr. Marcus Wright's computational models began producing results that defied all logical interpretation. Algorithms designed to predict quantum behaviors now generated patterns that looked like living artwork, mathematical representations that seemed to breathe and pulse with an internal logic beyond human comprehension. "The probability matrices are self-modifying," Marcus muttered, his fingers flying across multiple holographic interfaces. "It's like the quantum state is writing its own rulebook." Outside the facility's reinforced windows, the mountain landscape began to demonstrate subtle signs of quantum instability. Trees momentarily became translucent, their molecular structures flickering between solid matter and pure energy. Rocks seemed to age and de-age in rapid succession, centuries of geological transformation compressed into milliseconds. Elena recognized the progression. This wasn't just an experimental anomaly. They were witnessing the fundamental rules of reality beginning to unravel. Each quantum interaction was creating cascading effects that spread far beyond the initial point of disruption. "We need to contain this," she announced, her voice cutting through the growing quantum cacophony. But containment might be impossible. Dr. Tanaka approached a quantum isolation chamber, his hand hovering near the control panel. "If we can isolate the initial quantum entanglement point, we might be able to." His words caught in his throat as the chamber itself began to shimmer, its molecular structure becoming increasingly uncertain. Sarah Chen's augmented reality display erupted with warning signals. "The quantum state is propagating," she reported. "We're no longer just observing the phenomenon. We're becoming part of it." The coffee mug from earlier suddenly fractured into a million possible states, existing and not existing, whole and shattered, real and imagined, all simultaneously. It was a microcosm of what was happening on a fundamental level of reality. Humanity had just initiated a conversation with the universe, and the universe was about to respond in ways no one could have predicted. The first global reports came in like fragments of an impossible dream. In Tokyo, commuters watched in stunned silence as the massive digital billboards of Shibuya Crossing began to display mathematical equations instead of advertisements. The equations moved, transformed, and seemed to breathe with an intelligence of their own. A farmer in rural Kansas discovered his cornfield had become translucent, revealing the quantum dance of atoms beneath the soil. Corn stalks flickered between solid matter and pure energy, their molecular structures playing out millennia of potential existences in mere seconds. His smartphone captured fragments of the event, images that would later become the first documented evidence of reality's fundamental breakdown. International communication networks began to fracture in spectacular ways. Text messages arrived before they were sent. Video calls showed participants existing in multiple locations simultaneously. The Internet became a living, breathing entity that seemed to be writing its own narrative. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's team had become the most sought-after and feared group on the planet. Government agencies from around the world flooded their communication channels with increasingly desperate requests for information. The United Nations convened an emergency session, with representatives struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the emerging crisis. "We're looking at a fundamental restructuring of reality itself," Elena explained during a global emergency broadcast. Her image flickered across screens worldwide, sometimes appearing younger, sometimes older, sometimes split into multiple versions of herself. This isn't an isolated incident. It's a cascading quantum event that's rewriting the fundamental laws of existence. Scientific institutions that had been competitors for decades now found themselves in an unprecedented collaboration. Quantum physicists worked alongside mathematicians, philosophers, and computational experts. They shared encrypted communications, building a global network dedicated to understanding the impossible. In the European Space Agency's main control center, satellite imagery began to reveal something extraordinary. The Earth itself seemed to be experiencing quantum uncertainty. Entire mountain ranges would momentarily dissolve into probability waves, revealing the complex underlying structure of matter itself. Geological time compressed and expanded, showing millions of years of planetary transformation in brief, breathtaking moments. Dr. Marcus Wright developed a global monitoring system that attempted to track the quantum anomalies. His computational models became increasingly complex, creating visualizations that looked more like living artwork than scientific data. Each representation was a window into a reality that defied human comprehension. Social media exploded with impossible content. Videos showed pets transforming, landscapes breathing, time running backward in coffee shops. The global response to the quantum anomaly transcended every previous model of international cooperation. Scientific institutions that had been bitter rivals for decades now shared encrypted communication channels, working together with an urgency that defied traditional geopolitical boundaries. In Geneva, the International Scientific Consortium emerged as a pivotal coordination center. Researchers from China, the United States, India, Brazil, and dozens of other nations worked around the clock, their neural interfaces creating a living, breathing network of collective intelligence. Traditional language barriers dissolved as advanced translation technologies allowed for instantaneous, nuanced communication. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura from the Tokyo Quantum Research Institute developed the first comprehensive mapping system for the quantum anomalies. His breakthrough came from an unexpected collaboration with indigenous knowledge keepers from the Amazon rainforest. They'd brought centuries of ecological understanding that complemented the most advanced quantum computational models. Social media platforms transformed into real-time scientific collaboration networks. Citizen scientists became crucial contributors, reporting local quantum anomalies and helping to map the global progression of the reality breakdown. A farmer in rural Kansas could now provide critical data that would be instantly analyzed by quantum physicists in Switzerland. The United Nations convened an emergency global summit, but traditional political structures quickly became obsolete. The quantum anomaly didn't respect national borders or political ideologies. It was a universal challenge that required a fundamentally new approach to human collaboration. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's research team established the Global Quantum Observation Network. Hundreds of research stations were rapidly deployed across every continent, creating a real-time monitoring system that tracked the progression of quantum destabilization. Satellites, ground-based sensors, and a network of citizen observers worked in perfect synchronization. Unexpected patterns began to emerge. Certain geographical regions demonstrated more stable quantum zones. The Andean mountain ranges, the Himalayan plateau, and specific areas in the Amazon rainforest showed remarkable resistance to the quantum breakdown. Indigenous communities with long-standing meditative practices seemed to have an intuitive understanding of the emerging phenomenon. Educational institutions worldwide began to redesign their entire approach to scientific understanding. Universities created interdisciplinary programs that broke down traditional academic boundaries. A student could now study quantum physics alongside indigenous wisdom, philosophy, and computational theory in a single integrated curriculum. The global scientific community discovered that traditional computational models were inadequate for understanding the quantum anomaly. Dr. Marcus Wright developed a new type of computational system that could adapt in real time, learning and responding to the constantly changing quantum landscape. Economic systems began to transform. Traditional market models became increasingly irrelevant as the quantum anomaly revealed the deep interconnectedness of global systems. Companies that could adapt quickly and embrace collaborative approaches became the new leaders in a rapidly changing world. Medical research institutions found themselves at the forefront of understanding the quantum breakdown. The anomaly revealed profound connections between human consciousness and fundamental physical laws. Researchers began to explore how human intention might interact with quantum probability waves. Communication technologies underwent a radical transformation. Neural interface networks allowed for unprecedented levels of global collaboration. Researchers could share. The consciousness network grew exponentially, transcending traditional boundaries of culture, language, and scientific discipline. In monasteries nestled in the Himalayas, Buddhist monks discovered their centuries-old meditation practices provided unexpected insights into the quantum realm. Indigenous wisdom keepers from the Amazon rainforest contributed unique perspectives on the interconnectedness of reality. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura's breakthrough came from an unlikely collaboration with a group of Zen masters and quantum meditation experts. They developed the first neural synchronization protocol that could potentially stabilize local quantum fluctuations through collective mental focus. The technology was elegant in its simplicity, a blend of advanced neural interfaces, meditation techniques, and quantum computational modeling. Initial tests were conducted in carefully controlled environments. A research facility in Switzerland became the first site of a full-scale consciousness stabilization experiment. Participants from diverse backgrounds, scientists, artists, philosophers, and meditation practitioners, were carefully selected and prepared. The first successful stabilization occurred almost by accident. A young mathematician named Rosa Alvarez, positioned at the center of the neural network, experienced a profound moment of quantum insight. Her mind seemed to bridge the gap between mathematical abstraction and physical reality. For a brief moment, she could see the quantum probability waves as living, breathing entities, complex mathematical structures that responded to conscious intent. The neural interface captured her experience in unprecedented detail. Quantum fluctuations in a 500-meter radius began to align, creating a bubble of stabilized reality. Instruments recorded something miraculous. The fundamental constants of physics began to normalize, if only for a few minutes. It's not about controlling reality, Rosa explained during a subsequent debriefing. It's about communicating with it. We're negotiating with the fundamental fabric of existence. The global scientific community was both excited and terrified. This was far beyond any previous understanding of consciousness or quantum mechanics. The neural synchronization network expanded rapidly, drawing participants from every corner of the globe. Universities redesigned entire research programs to explore this new frontier of human potential. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's team developed increasingly sophisticated neural interfaces. These were not simply measurement devices, but communication tools that could translate human intent into quantum repair algorithms. Each participant became a living, breathing quantum stabilization node. Unexpected discoveries emerged. A child in Brazil demonstrated an extraordinary ability to stabilize a local quantum field around a small playground. An elderly mathematician in Russia could momentarily freeze a region's quantum uncertainty. These were not supernatural powers. They were manifestations of human potential that had always existed but never been understood. The consciousness network revealed something profound about human cognition. Individual minds were like quantum packets, discrete yet interconnected. When synchronized, they could influence reality in ways that defied previous scientific understanding. It was a delicate dance of intention, mathematics, and collective awareness. Meditation centers around the world began training people in quantum consciousness techniques. The training was rigorous, combining advanced mathematical modeling, neural interface technology, and centuries-old meditation practices. Participants learned to perceive reality not as a fixed state, but as a dynamic, negotiable process. Dr. Nakamura compared it to learning a new language, the language of reality itself. We're not just observing the universe, he explained in a global broadcast. We're learning to communicate with it. Every human mind is a potential translation device, capable of understanding the fundamental dialogue of existence. The implications were staggering. Humanity was no longer just a species experiencing reality. They were becoming active participants in its continuous creation. The boundary between observer and observed had dissolved, revealing a far more complex and interconnected universe than anyone had ever imagined. The emerging human capabilities defied every previous understanding of human potential. In research centers around the world, individuals demonstrated extraordinary interactions with local quantum fields. These were not random occurrences, but carefully documented scientific observations that challenged the very foundations of human knowledge. Dr. Elena Rodriguez established the Global Quantum Interaction Observatory, a network of research facilities dedicated to studying these unprecedented abilities. The observatory became a melting pot of scientific disciplines, bringing together quantum physicists, neuroscientists, philosophers, and experts in consciousness studies. Maria Gonzalez, a 12-year-old student from Argentina, became one of the most fascinating case studies. During a routine cognitive assessment, she demonstrated an ability to stabilize quantum fluctuations around electronic equipment. Sophisticated instruments captured her unique mental process, a combination of intuitive understanding and mathematical precision that seemed to transcend traditional cognitive boundaries. It's like listening to music, Maria explained during one of her interviews, but instead of sound, I'm hearing the language of reality itself. Research teams discovered that certain individuals could manipulate local quantum states with increasing precision. A physicist in Copenhagen could momentarily adjust the probability waves around a quantum computing system, effectively debugging reality itself. An artist in New Delhi created intricate quantum stabilization patterns that looked like living mathematical artwork. The global consciousness network expanded exponentially. Universities redesigned entire research programs to explore these emerging capabilities. Neural interface technologies became increasingly sophisticated, allowing for more nuanced interactions with quantum probability fields. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura developed a groundbreaking theory of quantum consciousness. He proposed that human awareness was not just an observational tool, but an active participant in reality's continuous creation. Traditional boundaries between observer and observed began to dissolve, revealing a far more complex understanding of existence. Unexpected geographical patterns emerged. Certain regions demonstrated higher concentrations of quantum interaction capabilities. The Andean mountain ranges, the Himalayan plateau, and specific areas in the Amazon rainforest showed remarkable quantum stability zones. Indigenous communities that had maintained centuries-old meditative practices seemed particularly adept at quantum interactions. The scientific community struggled to develop a comprehensive framework for understanding these capabilities. Traditional scientific methods proved inadequate. Each new discovery raised more questions than answers. Quantum interaction became less about control and more about communication, a delicate negotiation with the fundamental fabric of reality. Educational systems underwent radical transformations. Schools began introducing quantum awareness programs, teaching children to understand reality as a dynamic, negotiable process. Mathematics became less about rigid calculations and more about creative problem-solving and quantum intuition. Government research facilities worked alongside independent scientists to understand the broader implications. The potential applications seemed limitless. from environmental restoration to advanced computational technologies. Some researchers speculated about the possibility of healing planetary ecosystems by directly interacting with quantum probability fields. Dr. Rodriguez's team developed increasingly sophisticated neural interfaces that could translate human intent into quantum repair algorithms. Each participant became a living quantum stabilization node, capable of influencing reality in ways that previously seemed impossible. "We're not just observing the universe," Dr. Rodriguez explained during a global broadcast. "We're learning its language. Every human mind is a potential translation device, capable of understanding the fundamental dialogue of existence." The most profound discovery was the interconnectedness of human consciousness. Individual minds were like quantum packets, discrete yet fundamentally linked. When synchronized, they could influence reality in ways that defied previous scientific understanding. It was a delicate dance of intention, mathematics, and collective awareness. Meditation centers around the world began offering advanced quantum consciousness training. The programs combined sophisticated mathematical modeling, neural interface technology, and centuries-old meditative practices. Participants learned to perceive reality not as a fixed state, but as a dynamic, negotiable process. Humanity stood at the threshold of a new understanding. No longer were they merely inhabitants of reality. They were becoming its co-creators, learning to communicate with the fundamental fabric of existence itself. The global repair mechanism evolved from a theoretical concept to a tangible reality. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her international team developed the Quantum Restoration Protocol, a sophisticated system that transformed human collective consciousness into a living, adaptive repair algorithm. At the heart of the protocol was a revolutionary understanding. Reality could be conceptualized as a complex, self-modifying system. Much like a computer program with adaptive capabilities, the universe responded to intentional input. The human mind became the most advanced debugging tool ever conceived. The first full-scale restoration attempt occurred in the Chilean research facility, where the initial quantum disruption began. Researchers from every continent gathered, their neural interfaces creating a global web of consciousness. The room hummed with an energy that defied traditional scientific description, part electrical, part mathematical, part something entirely new. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura positioned himself at the central computational node, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that looked more like living art than technological equipment. Surrounding him, a diverse team of researchers represented the breadth of human cognitive potential: mathematicians, philosophers, meditation experts, indigenous wisdom keepers, and quantum physicists. "We're not repairing reality," Nakamura explained to the global audience watching the live transmission. "We're engaging in a conversation with existence itself." The quantum restoration process worked through multiple layers of interaction. Advanced neural interfaces translated human intention into quantum repair algorithms. Each participant became a living computational node, their consciousness acting as a sophisticated debugging mechanism for reality's fundamental code. Maria Gonzalez, the young prodigy who had demonstrated remarkable quantum interaction abilities, played a crucial role. Her unique cognitive pattern allowed her to perceive quantum probability waves in ways no adult researcher could comprehend. She described it as seeing the universe's underlying music, a complex symphony of mathematical potential. Holographic displays around the facility showed the restoration process in real time. Quantum probability waves began to align, creating stable regions of reality. It wasn't a linear process, but a dynamic, adaptive interaction. Some areas stabilized quickly, while others required more nuanced collective intention. Geographic information systems tracked the restoration in real time. Regions around the world showed varying degrees of quantum stability. The Amazon rainforest became a particularly interesting focal point, with indigenous communities demonstrating extraordinary abilities to stabilize local quantum fields. Unexpected patterns emerge. Certain mathematical approaches seemed more effective than others. a team of mathematicians discovered that ancient geometric patterns found in various cultural traditions appeared to have inherent quantum stabilization properties. Mandala designs, sacred geometric structures, and complex mathematical fractals became crucial tools in the restoration process. The global scientific community watched in awe. Traditional boundaries between disciplines dissolved. Quantum physicists worked alongside artists, mathematicians collaborated with meditation experts, and computational theorists found unexpected insights from indigenous wisdom traditions. Each successful stabilization was carefully documented. The researchers discovered that reality was far more responsive to collective human intention than anyone had previously imagined. It wasn't about forcing a specific outcome, but about creating a cooperative dialogue with the fundamental fabric of existence. Dr. Rodriguez's team developed increasingly sophisticated neural interface technologies. These were not merely measurement devices, but complex communication tools that could translate human intent into quantum repair algorithms. Participants learned to perceive reality as a dynamic, negotiable process. The restoration wasn't about returning to a previous state, but about finding a new, more stable configuration of reality. Humanity was learning to be an active participant in the universe's continuous creation, moving from passive observers to conscious co-creators. As the global restoration effort progressed, a profound realization emerged. The quantum disruption was not a catastrophe to be feared, but an opportunity for unprecedented growth. Humanity was learning the language of reality itself, a communication far more complex and beautiful than anyone had ever imagined. The universe, it seemed, was listening, and for the first time, humanity was truly speaking its language. The restoration of reality unfolded like a delicate, complex tapestry. Regions of the world began to stabilize, not uniformly, but in intricate, interconnected patterns that defied traditional scientific understanding. The process was neither linear nor predictable. It was a living, breathing transformation of existence itself. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's global team tracked the restoration through an unprecedented network of quantum observation stations. Each station represented a nexus of human consciousness, a point where collective intention could interact with the fundamental fabric of reality. The holographic displays showed a world in constant, beautiful flux, reality healing itself through human collaboration. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous communities played a crucial role in the restoration process. Their ancient knowledge of ecological interconnectedness proved to be a powerful tool in stabilizing quantum fields. Shamans and environmental scientists worked side by side, their combined understanding creating remarkable quantum healing zones that spread across entire ecosystems. The Antarctic research stations discovered something extraordinary. Quantum stabilization seemed to have a cascading effect on planetary systems. Ice cores that had been damaged during the initial quantum disruption began to reconstruct their molecular memories. Climate scientists watched in awe as millennia of environmental data slowly reconstructed itself, offering unprecedented insights into Earth's complex history. Cities around the world transformed in subtle yet profound ways. Urban landscapes became more fluid, with architectural structures showing increased resilience and adaptability. Buildings seemed to breathe, adjusting to environmental conditions with an almost organic intelligence. Transportation systems redesigned themselves, becoming more efficient and interconnected. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura's research revealed that the restoration was not about returning to a previous state, but about finding a new, more harmonious configuration of reality. Quantum probability became more of a collaborative dialogue than a fixed set of rules. Human consciousness had become an active participant in the universe's continuous creation. Educational systems underwent a radical transformation. Schools no longer taught science as a set of fixed principles, but as a dynamic, interactive process of discovery. Students learned to perceive reality as a complex, adaptive system that responded to collective human intention. Mathematics became a language of communication rather than a tool of calculation. Technological innovations emerged from unexpected sources. The quantum restoration process had revealed new understanding of energy systems, computational technologies, and ecological interactions. Renewable energy technologies became exponentially more efficient. Computational systems developed capabilities that blurred the lines between artificial and human intelligence. The global consciousness network continued to expand. Individuals from diverse backgrounds discovered their unique abilities to interact with quantum probability fields. A painter in Buenos Aires could create stability zones through her artistic expressions. A mathematician in Beijing could resolve complex quantum uncertainties through pure mathematical intuition. Environmental restoration accelerated beyond anyone's expectations. Damaged ecosystems began to heal with unprecedented speed. Forests regenerated, oceanic systems recovered, and biodiversity showed remarkable resilience. The quantum restoration had revealed the deep interconnectedness of all living systems. Medical technologies experienced a revolution. Researchers discovered that human consciousness could directly interact with biological systems at the quantum level. Healing became a collaborative process between medical professionals, patients, and the body's own quantum intelligence. Chronic diseases that had been considered incurable found new paths to recovery. Dr. Rodriguez reflected on the journey during a global symposium. "We didn't just repair reality," she explained. "We learned to communicate with it. Humanity has become a conscious participant in the universe's continuous creation." The most profound change was philosophical. Humanity's understanding of consciousness, reality, and existence had been fundamentally transformed. The rigid boundaries between observer and observed had dissolved. People began to understand themselves not as separate from the universe, but as an integral, active part of its ongoing evolution. As the restoration continued, a new sense of collective purpose emerged. Humanity had faced an unprecedented challenge and discovered something remarkable about itself. They were not just survivors, but co-creators, capable of communicating with the fundamental fabric of existence in ways no one had ever imagined possible. The universe, it seemed, was no longer a mystery to be solved, but a living conversation to be understood. The final stage of humanity's quantum journey was less about conclusion and more about profound transformation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before the Global Consciousness Summit, her presentation revealing the deepest insights gained from their unprecedented adventure in reality reconstruction. "We are not the same species we were before," she explained to a global audience spanning every continent. "Our understanding of existence has fundamentally changed. We've discovered that reality is not a fixed state, but a dynamic conversation." The quantum catastrophe had become humanity's most significant evolutionary moment. Educational systems worldwide had been completely redesigned. Schools now taught consciousness studies alongside traditional scientific disciplines. Children learned to perceive reality as an interactive, adaptive system rather than a static environment. Quantum communication networks replaced traditional technological infrastructures. These networks were living systems that responded to collective human intention. Communication became a multidimensional experience, transcending language and cultural barriers. People could share experiences, emotions, and complex ideas in ways that defied previous technological limitations. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura's research revealed the profound interconnectedness of consciousness. The quantum restoration had shown that individual minds were not isolated entities, but part of a vast, intricate network. Every human thought contributed to the continuous creation of reality, a concept that transformed philosophical, scientific, and spiritual understanding. Environmental restoration had become a collaborative global project. Ecosystems recovered with unprecedented speed, demonstrating a level of resilience that previous scientific models could never have predicted. The Amazon rainforest, once threatened by environmental destruction, now flourished as a living example of human-nature quantum collaboration. Technological innovations emerged from the most unexpected sources. A young researcher in Kenya developed computational systems that mimicked the adaptive intelligence observed during the quantum restoration. These systems could learn, adapt, and communicate in ways that blurred the lines between technological and biological intelligence. Maria Gonzalez, the child prodigy who had played a crucial role in the quantum restoration, now led a global research institute dedicated to exploring human consciousness. Her work continued to push the boundaries of human understanding, revealing layers of reality that previous generations could never have imagined. The Global Consciousness Network became humanity's most powerful tool for collective problem-solving. Complex challenges, climate change, resource distribution, social conflicts were approached through a new lens of interconnected understanding. Solutions emerged from collective intention rather than competitive strategies. Medical technologies experienced a revolutionary transformation. Healing became a collaborative process between medical professionals, patients, and the quantum intelligence of biological systems. Chronic diseases that were once considered incurable found new paths to recovery through a deeper understanding of consciousness and interconnectedness. Philosophical and scientific boundaries dissolved. Disciplines that were once considered separate now worked in perfect harmony. Quantum physicists collaborated with artists, mathematicians worked alongside meditation experts, and computational theorists found unexpected insights from indigenous wisdom traditions. Dr. Rodriguez reflected on the journey during her final public lecture. "We didn't just survive a quantum catastrophe," she explained. "We discovered our true potential as a species. We learned that we are not just observers of reality, but active participants in its continuous creation." The most profound change was humanity's relationship with uncertainty. Where previous generations feared the unknown, this new civilization embraced it as an opportunity for growth and discovery. Uncertainty became a source of excitement, a doorway to new possibilities rather than a threat to be controlled. Global governance models transformed. Traditional political boundaries became less relevant as people understood their deep interconnectedness. Collaborative decision-making replaced competitive political systems. Humanity began to function more like a complex, adaptive network than a collection of isolated nations. As the years passed, the quantum catastrophe became a pivotal moment in human history. It was no longer remembered as a disaster, but as the moment humanity truly awakened to its potential. The universe had presented a challenge, and humanity had responded with creativity, collaboration, and an unprecedented understanding of existence. The conversation with reality continued, an ongoing dialogue of discovery, creation, and infinite possibility.